Are you ready for a fun but ever so slightly brutal video? I hope you are, because that is exactly what today's video is. I'm going to be talking about some of the most common marketing mistakes that are happening right now in 2025. By the way, this video is sponsored by HubSpot, more on them later. Okay, so for this first mistake, I'm calling it rigidness over flexibility, okay? What I'm referring to here is this old school way of us approaching marketing, where we sit down at the start of the financial year, we plan out how much money we're going to dedicate towards marketing, what that's going to go on, what it looks like, and then we stick to that plan for the next 12 months. The idea of brands continuing to do this actually blows my mind. I could not tell you what country I'm going to be in 12 months time, let alone which marketing channels I'm going to be using or what my content looks like. The reason why I don't know exactly what my marketing is going to look like in 12 months time isn't because I'm incompetent, it's because the world that we currently live in is incredibly fluid and it's changing at a rapid pace. Therefore, when I sit down to plan my marketing campaigns for the next 12 months or so, I always put aside around 20% of my efforts to just being flexible. And what this basically means is that 20% of my marketing efforts for the next 12 months will currently be undecided. Whilst that might make you feel a bit nervous, or maybe you're thinking, hold on, 100% of my marketing efforts are undecided, whichever side you fall on, I tend to find that brands who allocate between 20 to 50% of their marketing plans for the year to just being open, flexible, and therefore adaptable to things like trends, what's going on in culture, what people are talking about, they're the ones who are able to be reactive. They're the ones who often benefit from viral moments, and they're the ones who often see a lot of success, especially when it comes to social media. There are a few examples for this, but if you think of your favorite brand on TikTok, I'm willing to bet that one of the reasons why you love their marketing so much is because they're reactive. Their content isn't predetermined 12 months in advance. Instead, they're keeping an eye on what people are talking about on that platform, and they're reacting to it in a way that suits their own brand and tone of voice. I was actually listening to a podcast recently where they spoke about Beyonce and when she made Formation. You know that song where she talks about taking her other half to Red Lobster? I just made that sound like the most British, like posh version of what she's saying. But you know what I'm talking about, right? Apparently, it took Red Lobster, I think like 2 to 3 days to react to this. So you have one of the biggest stars in the world name dropping you in a huge song, and it takes you like 2 to 3 days to talk about it on social media. I don't know what happened behind the scenes and why it took them so long, but I'm willing to guess that they probably didn't have a certain amount of their marketing activity dedicated towards this type of stuff, towards being reactive and flexible. I'm also willing to bet that they probably had some rigid processes internally, which meant that content ideas and concepts took days to get approved, when in reality, in order for you to keep your finger on the pulse like this, you actually need to have a flexible structure which allows you to create content, get it approved, and get it live within a matter of hours. So these are just a few things for you to think about, whether you're a small company or whether you're a marketing manager for a big company. Being able to be flexible in your marketing at least a portion of the time is going to massively help you thrive, especially in the social media marketing world this year and beyond. The next mistake that we are going to leave this year in the future, basically never make again, is thinking about SEO only through the lens of Google. Now, for anyone who's a novice to SEO, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert. This is not my channel of choice, but I do know a few things here and there. SEO stands for search engine optimization, and it's usually spoken about in the realm of Google search. So, you know, when you type in a keyword onto Google, and above all the ads and AI summaries and all this other stuff that pops up now, you will see a list of different websites which are supposedly going to help you with the keyword that you just entered. Now, the reason why those websites are appearing in the order that they are is because those websites have likely invested a lot of time or money or both into SEO marketing to improve the chances of their websites ranking highly on Google. Do not get me wrong, this is still a very effective form of marketing. I'm not going to stand here and say it's not important. What I am going to say though is it is no longer exclusive to Google. If you are thinking about creating content that is search heavy, if you want to appear in front of your audience when they're looking for brands like yours, Google search isn't the only way to do that. A lot of you have probably heard about, oh, there's a fly in here. It's on the lens. I'm gonna leave it. A lot of you have probably heard people say that Gen Z use TikTok over Google search, right? Like when they're looking for where to go out for dinner or even like medical advice, which is concerning, they'll use TikTok before they use Google. That is a great example of a platform that should be receiving some of your SEO efforts. In addition to platforms like YouTube. Obviously, YouTube and Google use similar processes when it comes to search engine optimization because they're owned by the same parent company. But even with that in mind, if you're a company that wants to market their brand on YouTube, you should be investing as much time and energy into SEO on YouTube YouTube as you are on Google. So all of that to say that Google SEO is not the only way that you can improve your marketing through search. I want to take a quick break from this conversation because I have a free resource for you, which I just know you're going to get loads and loads of value from. This is perfect for you if you're looking to future-proof your marketing strategy, but you're not quite sure where to start. Marketing is evolving faster than ever, and HubSpot's 2025 State of Marketing report gives you the insights that you need to stay ahead of the curve in an AI-first world. So it's designed for marketers and business leaders, and it basically breaks down the trends, tools, and strategies shaping the future of marketing. So you can use this to do things like align your team, create value-driven content, something that I harp on about all the time, and also to truly harness the power of AI. It's something that a lot of marketers know they need to do, but don't quite know where to start. So what's inside? There's a whole section on strategy. It breaks down a bunch of tactics that really successful marketing teams are currently using to target millennials and Gen Z. It will basically equip you with the information you need to make data-driven decisions that are going to drive growth. There's also a whole section on content, which covers why short-form video and storytelling will dominate in 2025. It also speaks about influencer collaborations and how you can utilize these to get the best ROI. And of course, it wouldn't be a 2025 report if they did not talk about AI. So they talk about how AI is redefining marketing, everything from optimizing search strategies, which is what we just touched on previously, through to how you can use AI to scale creativity and overall efficiency. So whether you're refining your current approach or if you're building your strategy from the ground up, I really feel like HubSpot's 2025 State of Marketing report will massively help you with your goals. As I mentioned, it's available completely for free. Just head to the link in my description to grab your copy. By the way, huge thank you to HubSpot for sponsoring this video. All right, next mistake that we are leaving in the past is using paid advertising as a cheat code to success. So the example I'm going to give you here is to do with social media, but to be honest, I think this example is applicable across all marketing channels. So let's say you have started a brand new Instagram channel for your brand and you're excited, you're sharing this content that you think is amazing. You think you're hitting every single point that you're supposed to hit when it comes to creating very valuable, high impact content on Instagram. However, it's not reaching anyone. Every time you post, it's just your mum, your sister, your dog liking your content. You don't feel like it's reaching any audience, let alone your target audience. We've all been there before, especially on a platform like Instagram. It could be very challenging to build a social media channel from the ground up or even to revive an Instagram channel. Now, what most people decide to do when they're in this predicament is to hit that blue boost button. Do you know the one that I'm talking about? It pops up when you log into your Instagram channel and it's there to persuade you to put money behind your content, right? To run paid ads through Meta that will appear on Facebook or Instagram. Now, do not get me wrong. Paid ads on any social media platform or any channel can be incredibly successful. Like they have literally been responsible for building businesses from the ground up. Where the problem lies is when businesses or marketers or creators decide to put money behind their content before knowing what content actually works for their audience. If you're in a situation where none of your content is landing and you have no evidence to prove that the content that you're going to put money behind so that it reaches more people is actually going to land with your target audience, all you're doing is taking this problem that you previously had and making it expensive.
You understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
If it doesn't land organically, it's not going to land with paid. Just a general rule to keep in mind. If you're watching this and you're thinking, okay, great, but like I have no idea if my content's landing or not because it's not reaching anyone, that is usually when people turn to agencies or freelancers to not only run their ads on Meta, but also to create their assets from the ground up. I've heard some horror stories with this. I've got to put that on the record. I've actually never done this for my personal brand, but I've worked with several agencies back in my corporate life who would do this for other brands that I'd be working across. And honestly, they were all pretty good. But I have heard from several other creators and marketers who have just been conned out of a lot of money when it comes to this. So you really have to be careful and make sure if you're looking for an agency to do this for you, make sure you reach out to people who they've worked with in the past just to make sure that they're legit and that people have gotten good results. Another thing to keep in mind here is that most social media paid advertising is like a pay to play model where you need to invest a decent amount of money, like we're talking thousands of pounds, before you get a return on your investment. And the reason why is because you need to spend some time just gathering data. So a lot of agencies you work with, they'll recommend that you set aside a certain amount of money just to run ads and learn who's responding to them. They then utilize that data to create lookalike audiences for people who've responded and all this other fancy ad tech stuff that they do to ensure that the next £10,000 you spend actually drives ROI for you. So it really is is a long-term play. Just clicking that boost button on Instagram isn't going to do what you think it's going to do. If you're going to run ads, run them properly. Get into Meta's business suite and do the whole shebang. Don't half-ass it. So another mistake that we're all going to stop making is ignoring the importance of reviews. Now, when I say reviews, I'm also talking about testimonials. It depends on the type of brand that you run or that you're working on. I usually find that if it's a product that you sell, it's reviews and like verified reviews. And if it's a service that you sell, then usually it's testimonials. But obviously you pick the format that works for your business type the best. Maybe you do both, who knows? Let's talk about why this is so important. Our buying habits as consumers have changed quite significantly over the last few years. I believe that one of the ways in which our buyer habits have changed is that we have grown to put a lot of importance on reviews and testimonials and just genuinely seeing what other customers have thought of a business or a brand before we go ahead and make that purchase. A big reason for this is because it's become so easy for brands to add review functions to their website. Like most product brands that you shop on regularly will have a whole section dedicated to showcasing what other people have said about that product, right? It's also largely thanks to huge marketplaces like Amazon. When you shop on Amazon, you know that there's going to be a ton of reviews available for you to look at before you go ahead and make your purchase and your choice. However, even with this change in consumer behavior, a lot of small to medium-sized businesses have been slow to actually implement things like review sections or testimonials on their site. And the reason for that is because they feel like only the big brands need that. And that's not true. Consumers expect to be able to see testimonials or reviews. And if you do not have one of those two things, there is a big chance they're going to go elsewhere. They are spoiled for choice when it comes to almost any product or service that exists in the world, okay? There are other places they can go. And if they do not see evidence of what your previous customers have thought about your product or service, they will take their business elsewhere. So this is one of the biggest marketing mistakes that we're making. And it's such an easy fix. For example, if you're a product-based business and you use Shopify, there are so many different apps that you can integrate with your store that make it easy for people to leave reviews and also ensure that those reviews are verified, right? If you're a service provider like me, I offer consultancy services, just have a dedicated page on your website where you're showcasing the testimonials that you get from your audience. The most important thing to keep in mind here, if we're doing product reviews, they need to be verified. And if we're doing testimonials, ideally, you need to have some way of proving that this person is real. For me, I will put the person's Instagram handle or YouTube handle. And a lot of the people who have left testimonials that are on my website have actually told me that people have messaged them before just to be like, hey, just checking that this testimonial is legit before I work with Jade. Them having the ability to do that is important because otherwise they're going to assume that you're just making these testimonials up because people do that. So make sure you don't get positioned alongside people who do that. Okay, I hope you found that useful. And if you're making any of those mistakes, don't worry. You've got plenty of time to rectify it and ensure that you don't make those mistakes again. Do not forget that you can grab HubSpot's 2025 State of Marketing Report completely for free via the link in my description. And if you feel like hanging around, I recommend watching this video. It's all about video content trends that are happening within the industry right now. A super important video to watch if you create video as part of your marketing strategy. Like, I would go so far to say that it's a compulsory video to watch. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I can't wait to see you in my next video.